Welcome to this edition of the News in Africa and the World. What is making news in Africa tonight? Ivory Coast presidential hopeful Alassane Ouattara's candidacy has been questioned in court, while Pascal Affi N'Guessan, candidate of the Ivorian Popular Front, also contesting for the presidentials, is appealing for Ouattara's candidacy to be declared ineligible and annulled. Charles Goudé on his party's demanding election be postponed, which is due for October 31. While the constitutional limits the president term to 2, the announcement of the head of state candidacy for a third term aroused deadly protests in August. His supporters claim that the amendment of the 2016 constitution restores the counters to 0. In a statement from his request, Pascal Affi said the question of the constitution to reset his third term bid is clearly negative and does not suffer from any ambiguity. Charles Goudé, still at The Hague, said to organize the vote in such circumstances would be to push the country directly into war. He proposes that polls should be postponed, use it as an advantage to organize national meetings that will make it possible to reach a consensus. The Independent Electoral Commission has said it had received 44 candidates, including those of Laurent Gbagbo, still in Belgium, and Guillaume Soro, who lives in France. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, have issued an ultimatum to the military junta, which seized power in Mali, to appoint a civilian to head a transition government by September 15. Meeting in Niamey, Niger, the West African leaders are determined to get the military junta to respect a timetable to appoint a transitional president and prime minister among civilians. Anxious to maintain pressure on the junta, ECOWAS has not lifted the sanctions taken against Mali after the coup. It has to do with the closure of borders and banning trade, and has called for elections within 12 months. The military government has proposed a year-long military-led transition back to civilian rule, but ECOWAS Commission Chief Jean-Claude Cassibrou has insisted it be led by a civilian president and a prime minister. 8 heads of state, including Senegalese President Macky Sall, Ivory Coast President Alassane Ouattara, and Guinea-Bissau President Umaru Sissoco Embalo, attended Monday's summit. As expected, Ghana President Nana Akufo-Addo was chosen to succeed Mahamadou Issoufou as ECOWAS President, a rotating one-year post. In the latest weekly address to the nation, President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa announced that 3 new bills were introduced in Parliament in order to fight gender-based violence, GBV, and femicide in the country. The Criminal Law Act will now include the offense of sexual intimidation and will broaden the offense of incest and the reporting duties of people who suspect a sexual offense has been committed against a child. With the amendment, the National Register for sex offenders will include information on all sex offenders and not just the particulars of those convicted of sex crimes committed against children or persons with mental disabilities. The bill also extends the definition of domestic violence to include the protection of older persons against abuse by family members. The president added it was the country's most far-reaching legislative overhaul against femicide, calling on the public to cooperate in the fight. There is indignation in Senegal over severe flooding that has left thousands of people homeless in the capital Dakar and has killed at least 4 people. Part of the country saw 3 months of rainfall in just 7 hours. Roads were blocked and homes collapsed. The people are angry, saying the government has been slow to respond, and critics want to know whatever happened to the €1 billion planned launched in 2012 to fight such flooding. Local residents residents say they need sanitations rather than food rations whenever it's flowed. In response, the Senegalese authorities said they had launched an emergency plan allowing for funds to be released quickly so that rescue teams can mobilize to help evacuate residents. Weathermen are forecasting more rain this week, raising concerns of increased flooding in rapidly growing Dakar, where drainage capacity from homes and roads is often very poor. From Africa, we move to the United States of America, where Republican President Donald Trump and Democratic rival Joe Biden took verbal sweeps at each other on Monday as the presidential campaign entered its traditional homestretch on the U.S. Labor Day holiday. Trump described Biden, whom he trails on national polls, as a threat to the economy and the stupid, while Biden took him at Trump's reported undervalue of fallen troops. Trump at a White House news conference said Biden and running mate Kamala Harris would destroy the country and the economy. Biden's visit to Pennsylvania on Monday kicked off a flurry of travel to battleground states this week by both Biden and Trump, as some opinion polls shows the race tightening with less than 60 days to go until the November 3 elections. The European Union, including Britain, have expressed concerns over the disappearance of Belarusian opposition figure Maria Kolesnikova, who has not been seen since Monday. Germany, which is currently holds the presidency of the EU, is working relentlessly on a series of sanctions against Alexander Lukashenko's regime. According to unconfirmed reports, Maria and two other opposition figures may have been kidnapped in the center of Minsk. She was one of the three women who joined forces to challenge incumbent Alexander Lukashenko in August election. The disputed election has sparked widespread protest and a harsh police crackdown that has seen several thousand people arrested. And Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny has been taken out of an induced coma and is responsive, said doctors treating him. The Charité hospital in Berlin said his condition was improving and that he was also being weaned off mechanical ventilation. British authorities identified the Soviet-era Novichok as the poison used on former Russian spy Sergei Skripal and his daughter in England in 2018. German Chancellor Angela Merkel recently called Navalny's poisoning an attempted murder that aimed at silencing one of Putin's fiercest critics and called for a full investigation. The EU, NATO and several Western governments have called for an explanation from Moscow, but President Vladimir Putin's representative dismissed the allegations that the Kremlin was involved in the poisoning. That's it. Thanks for watching. Don't go away. Programs continue on TBS television. On TV meet again. Do take care and stay safe.